Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. In this video I'm going to review the 1946 movie The Postman Always Rings Twice, directed by Tay Garnett, which is it's a film noir based on a book that have been made a lot of adaptations of. I think there was an Italian movie from the 40s also, and which I haven't seen, to be honest. And then there was the Jack Nicholson version, which I have seen but didn't care that much for. This movie I particularly like, and it's a great film noir, I think, and it follows John Garfield's character, who gets a job, and at the job he starts having this love affair with his boss wife, like everyday normal stuff that always happens. It happens very quick in the movie. They start have feelings for each other, or maybe more desire about each other, because the film, they talk a lot about love in this film, but I don't see that much love between John Garfield and of course Lana Turner's character. But I would more say it's a film about desire, and sort of almost like, in some ways you can almost say it's a bit pornographic in its plot, because they almost immediately starts having this affair at the job while the boss isn't there. But it has a very good plot, so it's not pornographic in that way, but it has a very like fetishized plot, if that makes sense. And of course the Jack Nicholson version, that was very heavily sexualized, if to say that, and I didn't care that much for it. This have a bit more substance, I think, because there's a lot of sexual undertones that works much better in this version, I think. But of course, in terms of sexual undertones, almost immediately when John Garfield sees Lana Turner's character, there's this camera movement. He watches her, comes in at the door, and you see her legs and up to her face. So it's very like very sexualized, if I have to say that. And he's kind of looking like a wild animal when he watches, when he sees her for the first time. And but it's kind of a fun, it's not a fun film, but it's kind of interesting film, and I think I care much more for this film than I do for Double Indemnity, which is based on a book that James M. Cain also wrote. And if you watch the beginning of both films, they are very similar in that sense, when they both have a leading man who becomes obsessed by an attractive woman, and they starts having an affair and wants to kill their husband, and in both films it happens. But then this film turns in a completely different direction than Double Indemnity, and I think this is much more smarter and interesting story, really, because there is, I think, more that happens more in this, and I think like there is some, the characters are more interesting, because even though they are very bad people, you really sympathize for both of them. And what happens now, I will talk some spoilers. They killed the boss or the husband, and then they got caught by the police. They are already looking into it, because they have tried to kill the husband before, where it didn't go well for them. But then they come to court, both of them, and then there is this very brilliant scene in where their lawyer sort of makes a fake confession, and I think it's one of the most brilliant twist in any like noir, because it's completely out of nowhere. You don't understand this lawyer, what his purpose is. But he makes this fake confession where he says to Lana Turner, "You have to confess." And the lawyer is of course played by Hume, Cronyn, a very good actor, and it's a very short role he has, but it's such a cool character. I wish that character was explored much more, because he's cocky and smart at the same time and has humor. I really like how he sort of is both provocative and yet he understands what he's doing. Both he kind of fools everyone, but he has a smart plan for why he does what he does. And they end up going free, so they are not becoming judged for the murder of the husband. And but their relationship is kind of broken afterwards. They have this weird relationship where in some ways they love each other, in other ways they hate each other, another way they really just have this deep affect, what should I call it, sexual chemistry between each other, and but with an affection for at the same time. It's really weird to describe their relationship, but I really like the characters. They are totally fucked up, but they are cool. And John Garfield, I especially think, is brilliant. He was an outstanding actor. He's a bit better than Lana Turner, who I really like, but in some scenes I don't think she's so convincing. But maybe it's also how she maybe it's I don't know if it's the character necessary, but it's the way she plays it in some scenes. I don't find her to be convincing in all scenes, but for the most part she is good also. Um, and then of course a lot of things happened, and then they eventually become husband and wife, and yeah, and they becomes pregnant, and what happens in the end? That they go into an accident, and Lana Turner's character dies, and then of course John Garfield is in prison because now he is under another investigation that he wants to they he's charged for killing her, um, and yeah, he becomes executed in the end. So it's a very brutal and dark and sinister film in that sense, but it's at the same time just very cool film. I think it has a lot of great scenes and a lot of great twists. And now I've of course spoiled all the twists for you if you haven't seen the film, but it's I think it's quite underrated as a noir, and much better than Double Indemnity, in my opinion. I've always felt Double Indemnity is a bit overrated, to be honest, and this is more underrated and has just more substance to it. I think this is a film that you think much more about afterwards than you do with Double Indemnity. But of course, they both have a lot of similarities, and they are both watchable. Um, yeah, and the final thing I want to talk about is really like a very great line in the film where John Garfield's when they try to John Garfield and Lana Turner's character want to kill the husband for the first time, and it goes wrong. There's this cat on a ladder, and then there comes a cop who is seeing the cat, and he says, "I like cats. They are always up to something." And I think that is a brilliant line. I also like cats, and I think that piece of dialogue is brilliant. And that was just my final thing to say about this film. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know in the comments what you think of the Postman Always Rings Twice, or have you seen some of the other versions? I'm curious if what you feel of those versions as well. Um, I will be back with another review another time, and but for now I hope you will all have a very nice day.